All right, let's see if we can break down chapter 19. In chapter 19, Tom Robinson is put on the witness stand. And notice that when they put him on the stand, he can't even lift his left hand to put it on the Bible to take the oath. He has to literally use his right hand to pick up his left hand. He puts it on the Bible. When he lets go, the left hand just slides off. He picks it up, puts it on there again, and it just slides off. So it's obvious that his left hand is totally and utterly useless. All right. Um, they go ahead and Atticus does some things with him. They don't try to hide anything. Yes, he got in a fight one time. Yes, he has been inside the fence at the Yule property before. They establish the fact that Tom has been invited by Mayella multiple times to come into the yard and to do odd jobs for her. And he busts up a shiffer robe. Oh, there's my dog. He carries water for the geraniums. He chops firewood. He just does all kinds of things to help Mayala. And this day, according to him, he says that let's see, he goes inside the fence and he notices that there's no kids around. And that's the first thing, is that there's 7 brothers and sisters. Usually somebody's around. Some kid is talking to him, watching him work. I came outside to get away from the dogs and the people that are inside the house, and now instead the dogs are out here wrestling in the background. I'm telling you, it's a zoo around my house. So anyway, he comes in the fence and he says, "Where are the kids? Like, normally there's children around." And she says on page 193, she says, "They've all gone to town." She was laughing, sort of. She says, "They all gone to town to get ice creams." She says, "Took me a slap year to save 7 nickels, but I done it." It took her a year to save up 7 nickels. 35 cents. We blow 35 cents and don't even think about it. Like, you guys come to the Israel store and, "Oh, I'll just spend a quarter. It's no big deal." That took Mayella almost a year to save up that much for that sucker that you, no big deal about giving the quarter away. So it took her 7 years. Took me a slap year to save 7 nickels. She's been planning this. She's been saving away those nickels to be able to send the kids to town to get ice cream, a special treat that she knew none of them would deny. And she's been planning this, okay? And she says, "But I done it. They all gone to town." "What did you say then, Tom?" asked Atticus. "I said something like, 'Why, Miss Mala, that's right smart of you to treat 'em.' And she said, 'You think so?' I don't think she understood what I was thinking. I meant it was smart of her to save, and nice of her to treat them." So then she says, "Step on the..." Oh, I don't find it anywhere, but she originally told him that the door was broken, that the hinge had a problem. And so when he comes inside, "I could be going if I couldn't do nothing for her." And she says, "Oh, yes, I could." I'm on page 193. And I asked her what, and she says to just step on that chair yonder and get that box down from on top of the shiffer rope, most as tall as the room. So I done what she told me, and I was just reaching when the next thing I know, she grabbed me round the legs. Grabbed me round the legs, Mr. Finch. She scared me so bad I hopped down and turned that chair over. That was the only furniture that was disturbed in that whole room, Mr. Finch, when I left. I swear afore God." "What happened after you turned the chair over?" Tom Robinson came to a dead stop. Understand that he is a black man in this time period, speaking out and basically calling the white people liars, saying that what they said wasn't true. He's standing up to them, and this is not a popular thing, all right? Not only is he saying it about them, but he's doing it in front of a courthouse full of white people. Everyone on the bottom floor of that courthouse is white. And so for him to sit there and do this in a very public way, he's scared, okay? He glanced at Atticus, then at the jury, then at Mr. Underwood. Tom, you're sworn to tell the truth. Will you tell it? He ran his hand nervously over his mouth. Answer the question, said Judge Taylor. Mr. Finch, after I got down off of that chair, she sort of jumped on me. Jumped on you? Violently? No, sir. She hugged me. She hugged me round the waist. Then what did she do? She reached up and kissed me on the side of the face. This has just gotten even worse. Now he not only is saying that these white people are lying, but now he's saying that this white woman made advances to him, that she is the one that came on to him, a white woman making sexual advances towards a black man. He is ruining her reputation. Not that she has a good one anyway, but in the case of black versus white, this is bad. For him to do this, it's really, really bad. So this is why he's so scared and nervous. I want you to catch on to this next part. On page 194, she reached up and kissed me on the side of the face. She says she never kissed a grown man before, and she might as well kiss a black one. She says what her papa do to her don't count. She says, kiss me back, and the N-word. I say, Miss Mayella, let me out of here, and I tried to run, but she got her back to the door, and I'd had to push her. I didn't want to harm her, Mr. Finch, and I say, let me pass, but just when I say it, Mr. Ewell hollered through the window. What did he say? Tom swallowed again, and his eyes widened. Something not fitting to say for these folks and children to hear. What did he say, Tom? You must tell the jury. And I apologize for my language here, but straight from the book, it says, Tom Robinson shut his eyes tight. He says, you goddamn whore, I'll kill you. Bob Ewell was not talking to Tom Robinson. Bob Ewell was yelling at his daughter, Mayella Ewell. He just saw her make advances towards a black man, and he is mad. And he says he's going to kill her. Tom Robinson's in a bad place. He's guilty. If he stays there, he's going to be guilty, because they'll bring the sheriff and they'll accuse him and they'll have him right there in the house, and he's guilty acting if he runs. Either way, he's in a bad spot. This is a lose-lose situation for Tom Robinson, and all because he tried to be kind, all because he tried to help somebody, all because he was nice and he was friendly to someone else. There's an earlier point in the book where it says it's a sin to kill a mockingbird because mockingbirds don't do anything but bring us joy. Tom Robinson brought Mayella Ewell joy. Tom Robinson is the only one that has shown any friendship to Mayella Ewell. And the repayment for that kindness and that joy is now he's on trial for his life. Tom, did you rape Mayella Ewell? I did not, sir. And he runs at that point, okay? And he runs because he was scared. So there's something I need to point out to you. Go back to that passage on 194. When she says, I ain't never kissed a grown man before, and I might as well kiss a black one. What my papa do to me don't count. I hope you're figuring out and you're going, ew, gross, about what her papa does to her. All right? Earlier when Atticus said, do you love your father? She said, he's tolerable, except when, and Atticus said, except when he's drinking, and she shook her head. Bob Ewell has beaten Mayella before. And I would propose to you that this comment of what my papa do to me don't count. I would propose to you that he also has sexually molested her. And it gets even worse. If you do the math, Mayella Yule is 19 years old. Okay? She has 7 brothers and sisters. So if you take 19 and you subtract 7 for 7 years of pregnancy, that would put Mayella at about 12 years old when her mom died. Because, if she's got 7 brothers and sisters, her mom had to be alive to have those 7 brothers and sisters. The problem is that Mayella says her mom's been gone. Her mom's been dead a long time. Don't know how long. Let's go back to Jem for a minute. Do you remember how old Jem was when his mom died? 6. Does Jem remember his mother? Yes. He talks about her. He has times where he is very quiet and goes off on his own to just be alone, to think about his mom. But he remembers his mom, and he tells Scout stories about her. He was 6, and he remembers. Wouldn't Mayella remember if she were 12 when her mom died? But she doesn't. I also want to explain to you a little bit about how the human body works, in that it would be extremely difficult for a woman's body to have a child every year for 8 years in a row. Okay? So the likelihood that those kids came out 1 year right after another is very, very low. When you start doing the math, and it's easier to do this when I have a whiteboard and when we're in person and we can discuss it all and I can have you calculate things. But what I'm saying to you is that Mayella was probably 6 years old or less when her mom died. So if she was only 6 years old when her mom died, how does she have 7 brothers and sisters after her? Some of you are going, ew, gross, right now. And some of you are still clueless, so I'll just spell it out for you. Bob Yule has been sexually molesting his daughter. And I would propose to you that some of those brothers and sisters are actually Mayella's children that she gave birth to when she got pregnant by her father. That's what this means. That's why Harper Lee makes a big deal out of Jem being 6 years old and remembering his mom. Because even if you said, yeah, Mayella was 8 years old when she died, maybe she doesn't have a very good memory. Let's have her be 8 years old when her mom died. She's still not going to have 7 brothers and sisters. It's just not possible. Everybody says that a woman is pregnant for 9 months, but it's actually more like 10 months. And then there's usually a couple good weeks to months in there where you're just physically not able to get pregnant. And like I said, to have a baby every single year is so hard on a woman's body that especially in this time period when Bob Yule doesn't take any of his to the doctor, it's very unlikely, like impossible, that those 7 brothers and sisters are all brothers and sisters. I think they're actually have been born to Mayella. Now do you understand why I don't like Bob Yule? Now do you understand why Scout says that she has learned how bad Mayala's life truly is and how lonely Mayala truly is, this is what this girl has endured. In this next section, when Mr. Gilmer is cross-examining Tom, he says, why'd you do all those chores for her? You're just that kind. You're just that good, bottom of your heart, all this stuff. And Tom slips up and says, I felt sorry for her. And I say that he slips up because that's what Mr. Gilmore calls it. Mr. Gilmore says, what? You feel sorry for her? It's not okay in this society for a black person to feel sorry for a white person. Well, you know what? I feel sorry for Mayala. And I hope every single one of you feels sorry for Mayala. For us to feel sorry for Mayala, we should feel sorry for her. This girl she lives a horrible life. Tom Robinson walks past her house every single day. You know he's got to have seen Mayala while she was pregnant. You know that he's got to have figured out, wait a minute, there's another new child on the property. Mom's been dead for 10 years. How's there a new kid? How's there a kid that's 3 years old? How's there a kid that's 7 years old? He sees it and he knows it and he feels sorry for her. And so he tries to help her. He walks by and sees her hugely pregnant. He comes in the yard and chops up firewood for her. He carries the water buckets for her. That's what friends do. But Mr. Gilmer, the other attorney, takes this and just runs with it, and it's the whole black versus white. How dare a black person feel sorry for a white person? And it's awful and it's ugly. Finally, Dill can't take it anymore. He starts to cry. And so Reverend Sykes says, you better get him out of here. And so Scout takes Dill out. Oh, just before that, I want to tell you that Link Diaz is the one that jumps up and he's like a character witness for Tom. And he says, he's worked for me all these years. I ain't never had a speck of trouble out of him. He's a good man, and the judge is like, you can't do that. I'll throw you in jail. Sit down, be quiet, that kind of thing. So she takes Dill outside and she takes him out under the trees, and he's like, it's just, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand Mr. Gilmore treating Tom that way. And, he knows that it's wrong. It's wrong to treat somebody like this in any circumstance, but especially because of the color of their skin. It just makes him sick to his stomach. And that's what he says. He just says, it makes me sick to my stomach. And he says, Scout tries to say, that's just the way Mr. Gilmer is. That's how lawyers are. And Dill says, Mr. Finch doesn't. And Scout says on page 199, he's not an example, Dill. And she remembers that statement from Miss Maudie. He's the same in the courtroom as he is on public streets. That's not what I mean, said Dill. And a voice behind the tree says, I know what you mean, boy. And it's Dolphus Raymond, the town drunk. The one who is a rich white man, but he prefers to live in the black community, has a black wife, and has multiple children with her. He's behind the tree. And he says, I know what you mean.